Brittany, all incoming traffic is being diverted to other locations, shouted Steve as he looked down at his handheld tablet. Jin turned to look in the direction of the incoming toilets, then at Kuro Silk, as he stood next to her. Well, at least this time I know there's a show coming, unlike last time in the bath, remarked Jin. Kuro Silk stood there, then her eyes grew wide and she blushed, her fair face turning a slight pink. You were in there? She asked hesitantly. Oh yes, he responded with a smirk. Her face turned to full rose red. You really should scan your surroundings before committing, but it was one hell of a nice-looking performance. Bath and a show, he chuckled as Kuro Silk looked down and away, grasping her katana with both hands in front of her, standing stiff and up straight. Brittany, hands on the ledge, looked down at the ground, her eyes hidden in the shadows from her bangs. She stood silent for a moment, her hands clenching the concrete ledge. Soft lockdown, she said so low almost no one heard her. Steve and the others looked at her, she spoke again, the same low audible, and no one could make it out again. Finally, she looked up and out at the coming terror. Soft lockdown, she ordered loud enough for everyone to hear. Get everyone that's outside inside. Everybody that's combat capable on standby and ready to go. Steve pressed a button on his tablet, and a soft, low beeping pinging began to echo out the facility. Everyone paused for a moment, the lockdown began. I now need to ask if you standing here before me are willing to head out with me. I plan to play decoy, to try and lead the main Skibidi force away and around this building's location. Yes, answered Ryoko, with Mikaru hesitant, holding Ryoko's arm, nodded her head yes. Always with you, said Steve. Why not, answered Jin. Of course, my blade is ready, answered Kuro Silk. As the others all pledged to go as well. Mickey stepped forward with Akon. We shall accompany you as well, as will my men, said Mickey. Vehicles roared out of the massive doorways in the building, as the clanking of heavy metal doors took over as they rolled shut behind them. 3 Dongfeng EQ 2050, Chinese reverse-engineered copies of the American Humvee, sans their top covers. The first driven by Mickey, with Akon in the passenger seat and 3 of their troops in the back. The other 2 manned by more of Mickey's troops. 2 Humvees, one driven by Brittany with Ryoko, Mikaru, Kuro Silk, Jin. The other driven by Lex with Steve, Jack, Romelia, and Sabrina. 3 old U.S. Army Jeeps with other volunteering troops flanked alongside as they raced out. They raced across the dry dirt, kicking up dust, before slipping into the dirt roads into the woods. Brittany put a CB radio microphone to her lips. The plan is to cut south and then back up. Let them spot us, then head south again and try and lead the column away, she spoke. As they raced through the woods, Mickey and her troops took a dirt path running parallel to the others, and sight of them became interspersed with trees until they could no longer be seen. The vehicles hit their pivot point and began to make their way north and straight for the toilets. Toilets began to strike out from the undergrowth, slamming into the vehicle and bouncing off. Above in the sky, one of the larger toilets spotted what was happening and let out a cry. Skibidi, skibidi. All of the toilets in earshot turned, looking down to see their comrades on the ground fighting against the small convoy of vehicles heading for the main column. The group let out a collective cry. Skibidi, skibidi. As they turned, the small to medium-sized skibidis diving down, as the larger skibidis and transports remained high to provide air cover. That's it, we've got their attention, turnabout, shouted Brittany into the radio. The group cranked the steering wheels over hard and began to speed away as the toilets dropped all around them. Dirt plumes exploded up as the toilet's aerial onslaught continued. Echoing screams of Skibidi, skibidi came from all sides. Automatic gunfire bursts flashed from the vehicles. A long neck stretched out and plucked one of the Chinese soldiers from Mickey's Dongfeng EQ 2050, tossing him back into a group of skibidis who proceeded to tear him asunder. A large vehicle-sized skibidi dropped next to one of the jeeps, the impact sending it spiraling into the air. Its occupants flung out and scattered on the ground. The skibidis pounced on them like hyenas, dragging them away. Some of the soldiers managed to fire off bursts or stagger to their feet and fire off a burst, but it didn't matter, they were all quickly overtaken as the group was quickly left behind by the rest of the convoy.